Hi, welcome to today's Pep Talk. Don't be a victim of your diagnosis. I am a believer that the body has the ability to be healthy if we provide it the nutrients that it needs to be healthy. Think about your car. Your car requires gasoline, or most cars require gasoline to run. And if you put water or pop into your car instead of gasoline, you're going to have some pretty serious symptoms that develop, as in your car is not going to run. Well, our body's the same way. Our body was created to eat nutrient-dense foods. There are foods that are created for us. And if we eat those foods, we're going to be healthy. And if we're feeding our body other things, and by things I mean chemicals, that our body isn't created or wasn't created to consume, we're going to develop symptoms. Now, I recognize that with your car, the symptom's going to typically be pretty dramatic and pretty immediate. And I know with our bodies, sometimes those symptoms maybe don't develop until years down the road. It's recognizing, though, that it's equally as destructive to our body as it is to our car to put something in it that it wasn't created to be consuming to begin with. There is a Dr. Terry Wahls. She is an MD. And she wrote a book called The Wahls Protocol, W-A-H-L-S, and she was diagnosed with MS. And she approached her MS utilizing the Western medicine approach to treating it. And she ended up in a wheelchair. And this was somebody who was very active, and she participated in competitive sports. And she decided she was going to look to nutrition. She wanted to look to a more holistic approach in treating her MS. And she states that her MS today is in remission. And she was actually in a wheelchair when she was utilizing the Western medicine approach. And she is now back in her participating and competing in the sporting events that she had been involved in previously. So she states that her MS, as I said, is in remission now. And she did that based upon nutrients. And I wanted to use that example because I think it's so important for people to know this isn't, just some, flower child belief that, we just have to get back to nature and everything will be okay. But there's real truth to our bodies were created to eat real food, not to be eating chemicals. There are researchers, and Dr. Terry Wahls even mentions this in her book, that there are researchers and experts that state that 70 to 95% of the risk that we have in developing diseases is based in the environment, meaning that our environment is the primary influence upon whether we get ill. And we have control over the environment. So people talk a lot about genes and genetics, and yes, that plays a part. But there's also the theory that we are either turning those genes on or off based upon what we're eating. So environment is what you eat, it's what you drink, it's what you put on your body, because remember, what you put on your body goes in your body. It's the amount of sleep you're getting, it's the relationships you have, it's the self-talk you have. For the most part, those are all things that you have control over. I recognize that there might be some challenges that some people face with some of the health issues that they have, but recognize for the most part, our ability to be healthy is based in what we're eating, what we're drinking, how much we're sleeping. Again, what we're doing with our day-to-day. Do you love your job? Do you hate your job? How much does that stress impact you in a negative way? So I oftentimes will hear people talking about how, depression runs in our family, or, everybody has heart disease. And that could very well be true. It's recognizing, though, that we have the ability to change that, because those individuals may be eating and living their environment the same. Everybody, because oftentimes that's passed down from generation to generation. The way we eat, or the way we don't sleep, or being workaholics, or not knowing how to have fun and to relax. Those things can be passed down. So it can be generational, absolutely. It's recognizing, though, that we have control on changing that environmental piece and getting back to the basics. getting back to eating real food and not believe that just because everybody in your family has this disease or disorder that you have to have it too. Recognizing that you have the ability to take a step to be healthy. And that step could be replacing 1 Coke a day with a water. It could be going outside and walking for 15 minutes. It could be just taking 1 minute, 60 seconds to breathe deeply. It could be replacing one fast food meal with one of the meals out of the recipe books that I offer on my website. I have the Paleo recipe book and the autoimmune protocol recipe book, which is really an anti-inflammatory approach to eating. So even if it was replacing one fast food meal with one of those meals, it's doing one thing and then adding on until you get to a place where you're truly treating your body as healthfully as you possibly can, and recognizing that the health of your body, it's foundational and it impacts everything else. For me, what I eat is the number one priority for me, because I know me being healthy is what allows me to do everything else. I'm not able to work with my clients if I'm not healthy. I'm not going to be able to go out for that bike ride or play golf if I'm not eating nutrient-dense foods so I can be healthy. So this is a topic I know many of you know how passionate I am about, and I could spend hours and hours and hours talking to you about it, but I think I'll stop there and just really encourage you to please get back to the basics. Get back to real food and do the best thing that you can do for your body, which is eating real food, and assist it in overcoming challenges. So I encourage you to do just one thing, add that in, and then possibly add on from there. Thank you and enjoy your day.